Hey guys, so today what we're going to do is make fried green tomatoes. I have these tomatoes from my garden. It's the end of the season, and so they're not going to fully develop, and so even if they did turn red, they still just wouldn't be as tasty as normal tomatoes. So fried green tomatoes is a great thing to do with them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to core them out, and I'm going to cut them in about 3/4 of an inch thick. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay them all out, and I'm going to add some salt to them. I like to season them before I dredge them. And so I also have a standard breading procedure. So flour, egg wash, and breadcrumbs. And there's about, I don't know, just a little bit of water in with the egg wash. Normally I'll add a tablespoon of water per egg. Seems to work out pretty well. So put them in the flour, make sure they're nice and coated. And then from there, I try, I'm not doing it here, but I try to do one hand for flour and egg and one hand for egg and breadcrumbs. Otherwise, after a couple of minutes, you're just going to have breaded hands, and it's really hard to work like that. The hardest part about this part right here is making sure that all of the flour is hydrated with the egg. If you have any bald spots or any dry flour sticking through, it won't, or showing through, it won't let the breadcrumbs adhere to it. And so at this point, what you're going to do is just mash the breadcrumbs into the fried green, or into the tomato. It's not fried yet. I have a little bit of trouble because green tomatoes have like a waxy kind of skin on them, and so the breading doesn't want to stick. And so this is where regular breadcrumbs would adhere better, but I like the texture of panko breadcrumbs, which is what I'm doing. Also in the breading process, I like breading things a day ahead of time if I can. I find that if you bread something the day of and then you try and fry it, there is a chance that the breading will like flake off. So by doing it ahead of time, it's just going to make it adhere better. And especially with like that waxy skin, it's going to give it an extra day to kind of set. And I am going to run them through breadcrumbs again before I fry them. Okay. So I also have some of these gluten-free breadcrumbs that I wanted to give a try and do like a compare and contrast to see if there was any difference. I will say, just from working with them at this point, I noticed that they are much harder, which made them not want to adhere as much. But other than that, they were pretty darn close. I mean, the color was slightly off too, but that didn't really make much of a difference. But I will say the color made it easy for me to differentiate between which one was which. Okay, so on the right is the regular breadcrumbs, and on the left is the gluten-free breadcrumbs. And you can see that there's a little bit of a difference, but not too much. So here is my fryer, and all that I'm going to, and it's actually the next day because I let them sit overnight. And then you can see some already finished on the left. I have my fryer set to 350 degrees. And all that I am going to do is rerun them through some breadcrumbs. And then I'm going to put them right into the oil. So sometimes I don't like to put things in the basket and then lower the basket because I don't want it to stick to the basket. So just running it through, putting them in, only putting in a couple at a time. I don't want to overload the fryer. And really, I mean, because they're tomatoes, I'm literally just cooking them until they're GBD, golden brown and delicious, which doesn't take too long, actually. And through the magic of modern television, time has passed and they're already done. And you can see that they are really GBD and that the breading did stick to them really well. I'm glad I waited a second day to do it. And really, that's it. I mean, because I seasoned them ahead of time the first day, they really didn't need seasoning when they came out. Because would be the point when they came out of the fryer that you would season them. So this is basically the last batch, and as I take them out, you can see that it's a pretty easy process. And then all you have to figure out is what you're going to do with it. And I've made salads out of them. I've done a beet salad on top of them with like goat cheese. Here, what we are going to do is we made an Eggs Benedict, and this was actually like a weeknight meal. Can't believe I was frying things on a weeknight. But yeah, sometimes you do. And I should have made a sauce, but, didn't have time. It was a weeknight, but it was still delicious. Okay, see you in class.